all types of bhakti, sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti, are all eternal tattvas. They all are Swarup Shakti. And the Siddha Sadhakas, they show us this is His Holiness Devamrita Swami's title, the perfectional potential of sadhana. So, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is a Nityasiddha Parsha associate of Radha and Krishna, Kasturi Manjari. And these Kaya Vyuha expansions of Srimati Radharani that appear in Gaura Lila present to us the perfectional potential of the bhakti process, the highest ideal for us to aspire for, and for us to purify us. Purify us is not an impersonal concept. Purified means connected with Krishna. Connected with Krishna in our whole being, mind, body, words. So they show us the ideal of that. So it's very inspiring to hear from Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He, in this section that we're going to read, presents a beautiful meditation on Nityananda Trayodasi, which we can relish and appreciate. So, we'll start with this verse, and I'll put it on the board. Mercedes with collective composition of this program has lamented in one of his prayers. When we go into so that I will forget all material possession. Remember the verses of the moments, I will forget all material possessions. Children are Christ. Let's just speak of material desires, satisfy my needs, body and senses. One cannot understand, translating body to the Lord mission to the army. We also know that one cannot understand only faith in the mission without a relationships. Yet another means that's power stated that without both businesses or cannot enter into the affairs of the mission. Woman, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, after she was disappeared, Nityananda Trayodasi 12 years prior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in 1486. Nityananda Prabhu appeared in 1474. Sri Hadai Pandit and Nityananda Prabhu performed pastimes in Ekachakra, remembering his expansions as Sri Lakshmana. He would perform pastimes and remembering himself like Balaram, because Sri Nityananda was Balaram, would perform leelas with his friends of Krishna Leela. And then, at a young age, his family was generally understood to be Lakshmi of Dharmasetu. Srila Prabhupada mentions it as well as somewhere else. And at this, his parents they were completely devastated. The father of Lord Ram was devastated. Exile. And I was devastated by separation of Nityananda Prabhu. He felt that it was his dharma to give Nityananda so the sannyasi stayed in the village. Hadai Pandit, he was providing for traveling sannyasi. And then this traveling sannyasi asked, which was devastating. It is the tradition from sannyasi. So when asked, Hadai Pandit felt obliged, I don't uphold dharma. My example, I sent it to myself and to the community. If I don't follow this, he was bound to us. But the thought was on them. But I'm not sure about that one. Generally, always surprised either. I don't have the details for it. Maybe a child or maybe a person coming to mind. So he gave him, and that was very traumatic for everyone in Ekachakra, and particularly for Padmavati and Hadai Pandit. And basically Hadai Pandit, in separation from Balaram Nitai, he returned to Nitya Leela. He left his Sarikadeha. And Nityananda Prabhu, as far as we know, as far as I know, maybe I can't remember, I haven't heard about it yet, didn't really go back to Ekachakra. Maybe he did, but I don't recall it. And he left, basically, and he travelled with Lakshmipati Tirtha. During that travel, which was extensive, they met with, this is the understanding, they met with Madhavendra Puri, Shripad, Madhavendra Puri. And Nityananda Prabhu took Diksha from Madhavendra Puri. So we understand that, as did Ishwara Puri and other sannyasi associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were disciples of Shripad Madhavendra Puri, as was Advaita Acharya. They are all godbrothers. Madhavendra Puri is Diksha Guru, and Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Ishwara Puri, other sannyasi associates are disciples of him. So, being older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu didn't yet go to Navadvip, because Navadvip is Gupta Vrindavan, it's hidden Vrindavan. The Navadvip Leela wasn't revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu until his 16th year, apart from a few rare personalities. The Brahmana, when he was young, the baby who kept coming and stealing the offerings, the challenging baby, very challenging baby. And when he went on his Sanskrit grammar tour of teaching and Nyaya teaching, he went to West Bengal, and who later moved to Varanasi. He met there on his West Bengal, East Bengal tour, and he revealed himself to that devotee whose name he's the father of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. What's the right father? It slips my mind, I might come back to him. Call out if you remember. He revealed himself to him also. It's also said that Lokanath Goswami, who was also a Navadvip associate, younger, also had a revelation by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy of his identity, but he was told to go and not mention it. The same with everyone else who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed, just those few rare personalities, but they were all told to, mum's the word, keep your mouth shut, don't tell anyone, because it's not time yet. Everything comes in due course of time by Krishna's arrangement. So, Nityananda Prabhu knew that it wasn't time for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela in Navadvip, Nitya Leela, to be displayed and the Sankirtan movement to be inaugurated. So he travelled and then he went to Vrindavan. So, as a young servant of the sannyasi, Srila Prabhupada mentions that the brahmachari servants of this is brahmachari and sannyasi nectar. The brahmachari servants of the Tirtha sannyasis, they're called Swarup. So he was known as Nityananda Swarup. Nityananda Prabhu never took formal sannyas, but he is also glorified as an avadhuta, which is someone who is beyond Varnashram conventions due to being transcendentally situated and acting externally from the transcendental platform. The general rule for transcendentalists is that they act like regulated devotees. They follow the same dharma, they follow the same rules, but the avadhutas, they don't do that. They do their own thing. Nityananda Prabhu was inspired from the transcendental plane and acted from that plane externally, which was quite confusing for some. And he was called Nityananda Swarup, and he went to and stayed in Vrindavan. At this time, so at some point he left Lakshmipati Tirtha and he travelled on his own and he went to Vrindavan. He stayed in Vrindavan, Shringarvat. Shringarvat is along the banks of the Yamuna, not too far from Madan Mohan temple area. You go there. It's a very famous place because it is said that this is one of the places where Sri Krishna combs Srimati Radharani's hair, when Srimati Radharani's hair becomes dishevelled due to leelas. So Nityananda Prabhu stayed there
Vaishnavacharyas say that Nityananda Prabhu, because he's Baladev, so he's Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, Vaibhav Prakash. So he's the original Supreme Personality of Godhead who manifests a different form and different emotions to Swayam Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So as Bhagavan, he is not Advaita Machuta Manadam Ananta Rupam. Bhagavad Tattva replies, of course. So he has Shakti. He is the possessor of Shakti. He's Shaktiman and there's Shakti. So his Shakti is, in Vrindavan, is Ananga Manjari. She's the Shakti of Nityananda Prabhu. So she's also, Ananga Manjari is she's not a Manjari, as in the same Radha Dasya maidservants of Srimati Radharani, but she's called Manjari. But Rupa Goswami says that she is a Varishta Saki in Radha Krishna Kanadesh Dipika by Rupa Goswami. Slightly different category. The difference is that she sometimes has Sambhog Vilas with Krishna, whereas the other Manjaris, they don't ever. It's not in their nature. So it's a different category. She's a bit older. She's Radharani's younger sister. She's Radharani's younger sister. And she assists in the Leela of Krishna. So he was in Vrindavan, relishing Krishna Leela within, and this is one of the places that he resided. And then at a certain point, he knew that it was time. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned 16 years old. His father had passed, also in separation from his older brother Vishwarup, and he had gone to Gaya to do the Pinda, the ceremonial passing of the father ceremonies. Shraddha ceremonies. At that time, he met Ishwara Puri at Gaya. And Ishwara Puri and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a wonderful exchange near the temple of Bindu Madhava. And Ishwara Puri instructed and gave Diksha to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we are in the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya because of our connection through Madhavendra Puri and through Ishwara Puri. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fully manifested his Sankirtan pastimes. And he came back to Navadvip and he was basically in ecstasy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was internally absorbed in Krishna Leela, and externally he was performing Sankirtan pastimes. And at that time, Nityananda Prabhu came to the house of Nanda Acharya in Vrindavan, in Navadvip, Mayapur area. There's a temple there now. You can go to that place, and that's where they met. And there's a very dramatic meeting of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And this verse from 10th canto of Bhagavatam, Varapidam Nata Varapapu Kanai Kamikaram Viprata Vanasha. It's a verse spoken by the gopis describing Krishna, that he's wearing a beautiful Vaijanti garland, he has Kanikara flowers behind his ears, he has a beautiful yellow cloth, yellow dhoti, and that he's like the greatest of dancers as he enters into the forest of Vrindavan on Venugita. So, I think on Venugita. And this verse was chanted by Nityananda Prabhu as he meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they embrace in great ecstasy. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduces him to all of his associates, and then all the fun begins for a Leela. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu are together, and the Sankirtan movement begins from Navadvip down. And Nityananda Prabhu is always in the role of service to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, in Navadvip, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Prabhu, they're the three Prabhus, and they are served by Gadadhar Pandit and Srivas Pandit and all the devotees in Sankirtan. And they perform their daily pastimes in Navadvip and so many wonderful pastimes that we know. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu travelled to Puri, and Nityananda Prabhu is one of the 4 devotees that travelled with him. Gadadhar and Nityananda, and there's 2 others, names I forget, or they were a party of 4, there was one of them. I forget. And so then, on the way, Nityananda Prabhu became a bit upset with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he was, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas, he had gone to Advaitacharya's house, and then he was leaving with Nityananda Prabhu and the others. He had made all arrangements for the Navadvip devotees. Sachimata agreed that he'd go to Puri, so they went to Puri. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict with Dharma, Varnashram Dharma, as a sannyasa. Highest order of the Brahminical order, sannyas, and he was a very strict one about all etiquettes of Dharma. But Nityananda Prabhu he wasn't very happy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was carrying an Ekadanda, and he who is the very ultimate goal of the Vedas, ultimate goal of transcendental knowledge, ultimate goal of Dharma is following Dharmic rules. He should just be enjoying Leela and the ecstasy of relishing devotion with his devotees. Nityananda Prabhu broke Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's danda. He had an ekadanda, and he threw it into a river. And that river, the spot is known as Dandabanga Nadi, the river where the danda was broken. Also because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not, we're not presenting Advaita Vedanta, we're presenting Vaishnava Gaudiya Vedanta. This single staff is carried by the Advaita sannyasis, the impersonalist Mayavadi sannyasis. So he snapped it for it in the river. There's now an ISKCON center, said to be in that same area. And they went to Puri, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu annoyed Nityananda Prabhu, and I can't travel with you, you're disturbing me. Nityananda Prabhu was very happy because he's always in Ram Leela, he had to do what the older brother said, because he was the younger brother, so he has to follow the older brother. In Krishna Leela, he's the older brother, so Krishna gets to get away from the elder brother, like a respected elder, and go and do things away from him, so he's also not very satisfied. But here he's getting chastised and told to go away and being treated like that by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's the first expansion of Krishna, and his whole existence, his whole being is to serve. So to be treated as a servant is in the highest ecstasy. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's great mercy on him, that in this Leela all desires are fulfilled, and this is a very telling of Gaura Leela. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went on to Puri, and eventually Nityananda Prabhu caught up, and they were all together. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arranged through the owner of Gambhira, arranged Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, but also there was the other associate that owned Gambhira. He arranged for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's residence and all the residents of all the devotees. So they stayed there happily and performed Sankirtan pastimes. But at a certain point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him to go. He should go and preach in Bengal. So then he and some of his associates, they travelled back to Bengal, and they stayed in Karadaha, place in that area of Navadvip, and that's where he stayed. And there he married Vasudha, and Janamana. And so Vasudha, he had 2 children, son, Virabhadra, who's a Chaturyuga expansion, and a daughter, Ganga. Ganga Devi, Ganga, I forget Nityananda Prabhu, the name of Nityananda Prabhu's daughter. Janava didn't have any children, Sundara had children. Janava, she was a great acharya of the Sampradaya. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, Virabhadra Prabhu. Of course, Advaita Prabhu also stayed there, and the disciples of Advaita Acharya, they also stayed there. And then at a certain point, so Nityananda Prabhu preached from there, and that was the marketplace of the holy name, was in Navadvip, and Nityananda Prabhu distributed Krishna consciousness. And then every Chaturmasya time, the Navadvip associates would go to Puri to be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu would also go, but he also had the responsibility of staying there. So that was his main service, was to preach and spread Krishna consciousness, which he did as a grihastha through his wife after his departure, and through his son Virabhadra. These are great acharyas of the Sampradaya. And from their family, then the family of Nityananda Prabhu expanded, and the Vaishnava family also preached Krishna consciousness. But Nityananda Prabhu said that at the end of his pastimes, he entered into the deity of Bankim Roy, Radha Bankim Roy. And this deity is now, I believe, in Ekachakra. I don't know if it was there before, or it was the family deity that was in Navadvip after as a grihastha. But he, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to enter Tota Gopinath, then Nityananda Prabhu said to finish his pastimes and enter into Bankim Roy. So that deity is very dear to the Vaishnavas. So, Nityananda Prabhu's, so it's a bit of an overview of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's and Nityananda Prabhu's, I mean to say, pastimes over his life. Nityananda Prabhu is eternal. So here, Krishnadas Kaviraj is explaining the effect of Nityananda Prabhu's mercy and the influence of it, and the direction of Nityananda Prabhu's mercy in the life of a devotee. The ideal sadhaka role in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates is Raghunath Das Goswami. He also achieved Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's service through the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu at Panihati for the Chittahi festival. He's the ideal role model. His very close associate is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Raghunath Das in Krishna Leela is Tulsi Manjari and Kasturi Manjari. They're like sisters, they can't be separated, they're always together. Whenever there's a service, then Kasturi Manjari, or she always follows Raghunath Das. So they're always together. Raghunath Das is messenger and dresser, and he's the epitome of all the services to Radha and Krishna. Kasturi Manjari, she's particularly expert cook. So you see in Krishnadas Kaviraj's descriptions, the details of all of the cooking and the prasadam is very, very detailed. He gives very, very detailed descriptions, because he's experiencing it, because he's a siddha. He's seeing it all. He's part of it. He is it. He's part of it. So, but here, his home, and his home was a place where they do Sankirtan. So there was a great devotee of Nityananda called Miniketan Ram. He was an eternal associate of Nityananda Prabhu, Balaram. He's in Sakyaras, and he was very strong, powerful personality. And he was such a devotee of Nityananda Prabhu, he's considered like non-different from Nityananda Prabhu. So when he came into Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's house, Krishnadas Goswami's brother was worshipping the family deity. Gunanava Mishra was his name. He was worshipping the family deity at the time that Nityananda Prabhu came in. No, at the time that Miniketan Ram came in. and he didn't show proper respect to him. As an associate of Nityananda Prabhu, he disrespected him essentially. It was like disrespecting Nityananda Prabhu. So Krishnadas Kaviraj, he became very disturbed, and he decided that this place is not suitable for me. I have to leave. And he tried to correct his brother, and he was very upset because his brother didn't properly respect Nityananda Ram. You can read about it here. Then that night, Nityananda Prabhu came to him in a dream, and Nityananda Prabhu came to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and told him to go to Vrindavan. And you should go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. So, and he told him that all of your desires and everything will be fulfilled when you go to Vrindavan. So, he describes Nityananda Prabhu as he approached him. And his description is beautiful. And this is we'll finish with this very beautiful description of Nityananda Prabhu. So he describes how he was, how Miniketan was offended, and then he was by Gunanga, and then Sri Ramdas, he spoke against this, and he was associate there, he spoke against it, and then Miniketan Ramdas, he continued in his dancing and chanting in ecstasy, and then he left. At the end of the festival, Miniketan Ramdas went away offering his blessings to everyone. At that time, he had some controversy with my brother. My brother had firm faith in Lord Chaitanya, but only a dim glimpse of faith in Nityananda, in Lord Nityananda. Knowing this, Sri Ramdas, the devotee who had told off Krishnadas Goswami's brother for being disrespectful, felt unhappy in his mind. And then Krishnadas saw this, so then he said, then I rebuked my brother. So Krishnadas Goswami, he got on the case of his brother. He said, these two brothers, I told him, are like one body. They are identical manifestations. If you do not believe in Lord Nityananda, you will fall down. If you have faith in one, but disrespect the other, your logic is like the logic of accepting half a hen. It would be better to be an atheist by slighting both brothers than a hypocrite believing in one and slighting the other. I have thus described the power of the servants of Lord Nityananda. That night Lord Nityananda appeared to me in a dream because of my good quality in chastising my brother. In the village of Jamatapura, which is near Naihati, Lord Nityananda appeared to me in a dream. That's where he lived. I fell at his feet, offering my obeisances, and he then placed his own lotus feet upon my head. Arise, get up, he told me again and again. Upon arising, I was greatly astonished to see his beauty. Now we get a description. He had a glossy blackish complexion and was tall. So he has a blackish complexion. He was tall, strong, heroic stature made him seem like Cupid himself. He had beautifully formed hands, arms and legs, and his eyes were like lotus flowers. He wore silk cloth with a silk turban on his head. He had golden earrings on his ears and golden armlets and bangles. He wore tinkling anklets on his feet and a garland of flowers around his neck. His body was anointed with sandalwood pulp, and he was nicely decorated with tilak. His movements surpassed those of a maddened elephant. His face was more beautiful than millions upon millions of moons, and his teeth were like pomegranate seeds because of his chewing betel. His body moved to and fro, right and left, and he was absorbed in ecstasy. He chanted Krishna, Krishna in a deep voice. His red stick moving in his hands. He seemed like a maddened lion. All around the four sides of his feet were bumblebees. His devotees, dressed like cowherd boys, surrounded his feet like so many bees, and also chanted Krishna, Krishna, absorbed in ecstatic love. Some of them played horns and flutes, and others danced and sang. Some of them offered betel nuts, and others waved chamara fans about him. Thus I saw such opulence in Lord Nityananda's Guru. His wonderful form, qualities, and pastimes are all transcendental. I was overwhelmed with transcendental ecstasy, not knowing anything else. Then Lord Nityananda smiled and spoke to me as follows. Oh, my dear Krishnadas, do not be afraid. Go to Vrindavan, for there you will attain all things. After saying this, he directed me toward Vrindavan by waving his hand. Then he disappeared with his associates. I fainted and fell to the ground. So he's having a dream, but he's there. I fainted and fell to the ground. My dream broke, and when I regained consciousness, I saw morning had come. I thought about what I had seen and heard and concluded that the Lord had ordered me to proceed to Vrindavan at once. That very second I started for Vrindavan, and by his mercy I reached there in great happiness. All glory to Lord Nityananda Balaram, by whose mercy I have attained shelter in the transcendental abode of Vrindavan. All glory to merciful Lord Nityananda, by whose mercy I have attained shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatana. By his mercy I have attained the shelter of great personality, of the great personality, Sri Raghunath Goswami. By his mercy I have found the refuge of Sri Swarup Damodar. By the mercy of Sanatana Goswami I have known the final conclusion of devotional service, and by the grace of Rupa Goswami I have tasted the highest nectar of devotional service. All glory to the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, by whose mercy I have attained Shri Radha Govinda. Shri Nityananda Ram ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Jai Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi. We'll finish there. If anyone has any comments or questions. Jai. Shri Prabhupada ki.